Okay, I got a hot tip for you. Yes, I am using this karaoke microphone. I feel like this was like the gift of the season this year. Both my 2 and 3-year-old got one. And I thought I would show you the difference between a lecture and a hot tip and instruction by using this handy dandy pink microphone. So, yes, I am super weird. It is okay to notice that. But I genuinely needed a way to show you the difference between the two things. So I'm going to use this microphone. Is it on? No, it's not. It is not on. Is it broken? It may be. My 2-year-old threw it on the ground. So anyway, what are we going to talk about today? So we're going to talk about two things: documenting citation style and the annotated bibliography. Now, some of you might be very familiar, uber familiar, not need this tutorial at all. For those of you who feel a little insecure or just, want to review, please remain with me. Okay, so let's start with documentation. So documentation, citation, it's that APA format that I've been giving you directions about in the course. So I've been saying use APA formatting, use APA formatting. So if you're like, Professor Robbins, that's all well and good, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing, that's okay. It's okay to take a step back and take a minute to learn a little bit. So I love the Wisconsin-Madison Writing Center online. I think it's fantastic. It gives lots of great explanations and examples. And currently, I'm going to share this with you, but I am on the About Documentation Style page. So it's under the Writer's Handbook, Citing Your Sources section. So if you look right here at the top, you will be able to see that. If you go to Citing Your Sources. So we are using APA. That is what I'm recommending, just because so many fields now have moved to APA, although I am aware that if you're in biblical studies, that's not the format you're using. If you're in literature or history, that's not the format you're using. You're probably using MLA. I think if you're in psychology, you're probably using APA. So hopefully most of you are vaguely familiar. If you're not, I recommend, and I'm just going to type it in the search right now, go to Purdue OWL, go to APA. See, it's popping up right there. And there is a writing lab for APA and MLA. It's great. I think there is gives you general formats for in-text citations, for formatting, 12-point font, Times New Roman, that type of stuff. How you do all the things in APA, reference list in all these different ways, basic rules, multiple authors, no authors, periodicals, books, electronic sources, which you'll probably be using most of, but maybe also some audiovisual media if you want to use that in your presentation. So let's hop back over to why do we document. It's so important to know that the reason that we document and do format is because we're entering into a larger academic conversation, right? There's all this centuries of knowledge we get to inherit because of this beautiful magic that is internet, right? So it's really like our inheritance, right? Like we get access to all this stuff that generations before did not have access to. So having said that, there's a lot of people that are part of these conversations that are going on, and it is really important that we, when we're bringing someone else's ideas to the table, we honor their voice, right? So that's really why we cite. But what do we cite, right? So if you're confused about this, any direct quotations you ever use from an article, a source that I've given you, or your own source that you've come up with, even if you paraphrase or summarize, you change the words a little bit, you still need to cite, okay? The citation format's a little different. You can go to Purdue OWL to check that out. Information and ideas that are not common knowledge or are not available in a standard reference work. So like, it's common knowledge that the sun rises every day. You don't have to go out and find like the research paper of why that happens, right? But most other information that's not common knowledge, and I would always err on the side of it's probably not common knowledge, you need to cite. if you learned it from another source. So any borrowed material that might appear to be your own if there's no citation, right? So just if it looks like it's your own, but it's not, you should definitely cite it. Anyway, so giving credit, I really like when they say giving credit where it's due is a founding principle of academic inquiry. And I really like that because it's like the ethical perspective of how we share knowledge. And I really like it. So you can read more about that on this page. So how do I gather information for documenting sources could be very helpful to you. Which style should I use? We're using APA just to clarify. And yeah, so all very helpful. Let's pop over to same site. So we're still on the Writing Center for the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We're still on that. But now we've moved to the annotated bibliography. So what are my expectations for that? Let's talk about that really quick. So for the upcoming essay, I'd like you to have at least 5 to 7 sources. I would like 2 to 3 of those sources, your best effort, to be sources you've found. It is okay to use sources I've given you. It is okay to use our primary text, the patent and canon. But in addition to that, you want 2 to 3 sources that are sources you've gone out and looked for. So a total of 5 to 7. Total of 5 to 7 sources. That also means that if you decide you want to use like a graph or a chart or a photo or a media of some kind, you're also citing that. So that is also a source. Okay, so annotated bibliography, what is that? If you've never heard of that before, in short, it is a list of your sources. Okay, so the 5 to 7 sources required for the essay. So you need to start collecting those on your topic, real world situation. What sources do you want to use? You need 5 to 7, right? It's a list of those in APA format, okay? And if you're worried about how to get that right, you can come over here to Purdue OWL, and you can find in the Purdue OWL website how to do an annotated bibliography in APA format, okay? But the annotations, so the bibliography is a list of the sources. That is the bibliography. The annotated part is the notes you write about each source. Why is this helpful? Because as you gather your research, it is really easy to forget why that source was important for your research, what you wanted to use from that source, what you got from that source, what you learned. So by writing some short descriptions of what those sources are, it will actually help you in the long run to put this in essay format, okay? So here's some quick bullet points. I really like how they lay this out. I'm right here on these annotations do one or more of the following. They describe the content and focus of the book or article. They suggest the source's usefulness to your research. I think that is probably the number one priority for me. How is this useful to you, right? They evaluate its method, conclusions, or reliability. Now, for the purposes of our paper, I'm not asking you to do quantitative research. I'm not asking you to like go out there and find statistics-based resources. I'm not asking you to do that. So that one you might not do, but if you want to challenge a source's credibility, absolutely challenge it, right? It's totally fine when you find a problematic source to say, this source is a bit problematic and I don't agree because of A, B, and C. That's wonderful, okay? Also, just recording your reactions to the source, right? Just saying, hey, I read this source and these are my observations and this is how it's helpful. Hold on just a second. Edith wants to be in the video. So at the end of the day, how you do your annotations, you can use these bullet points to help. Oh, okay, you talk in the mic. You can use these bullet points to help, okay? But I'm looking for a short paragraph, 2 to 3 to 4 sentences that follow these guidelines for each source, okay? So 5 to 7 sources. You want to think about your topic, think about your real world thing. 2 or 3 of those, I want those to be sources that you've found, right? And then you can use Patent and Canon. You can use sources that I've given you. Totally fine. Okay? So at the end of the day, how do you format the bibliographic citations? Right? I love the information it gives you in this section. So I highly recommend looking it over. So Edith is going a bit crazy now. I'm working from home today, as you can tell. So I'm going to cut the video off here. But of course, for help, you can reach out anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will link all these resources in week 12 and week 13. I hope you have a wonderful day. And this is Edith, my 2-year-old. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Yeah. So she says hi. Say have a good day.
Have a good day.
Okay. Bye.